Maybe we could shift to a really good example that that we all have familiarity with, which is DOGE. And DOGE was ill-defined from the beginning, vaguely defined, certainly. But people latched on particular hopes to DOGE, and I think it's very related to the question that you're bringing up.
Very.
Which is, what is the authority of the executive? What is the nature of the bureaucracy? What are the Article 2, what are the Article 2 powers over the administrative state? I mean, and then it kind of degraded into a libertarian efficiency argument, which I think was a disastrous mistake from the very beginning. Ooh. It's like we're efficient at what? The problem is, what is the end?
I think it was a good argument. I think it was good because it was a necessary smokescreen.
Chris and I are
the only
we're going to be more efficient in how we demand transgender teaching in class.
Exactly.
We're going to reduce the cost of transgender surgeries for minors and save taxpayer money. With a pile of teenage genitalia this high.
The only alternative was to say that this operation is an ideological purge.
That's what it was.
Which is what it was.
That's what it was.
And I think it's a much less acceptable story to present to the public than we're saving money.
And I think you have to be actually forthright with it to say the American people have elected Donald Trump to clean up the bureaucracy, to drain the swamp. These are democratic promises, and we're going to deliver. So it's going to be the Trump administration.
Are you saying we're all going to agree on this because we view it as a failed effort? I'm not sure.
No, I think we're all going to agree that it's an important example, but we probably have some different interpretations. Maybe you can tell.
Ideological purge, and it's a power structure. It was a place where, where the Democratic Party predominated and was able to send its operatives when they were out of power.
I think the absolute front page revelation of the kinds of programs, what was being funded, the publication, the USAID, that it was essentially a front for very radical Democratic Party agenda, that was extremely successful. Yes. Whether or not the purge was thorough, et cetera, et cetera.
But I think it's
and these are early innings still.
But it's a corrosive thing to say you can't work in the in the federal government if you believe this or that. And I think that there was a lot of that. What?
Why? You can't be an open, let's say, just for the most inflammatory example, no one would bat an eye if you had a kind of, neo-Nazi that gets fired. It's
that's right. But that's one person. DOGE went a lot further than that, particularly in, USAID.
I don't think they went far enough. Yeah.
They didn't go nearly far enough.
That's a different question.
And there's an interesting historical...
But there's a difference between firing one guy and a systematic extirpation of
the systematic extirpation is much more important and much more necessary.
And the easiest way to do a systematic extirpation is just to
But it doesn't command majority support.
I think that's wrong.
No, I think
President Trump won. Yeah. And so he gets to determine who is in his administration. The consequence of the argument you're making is...
I understand the argument.
No matter who is the president, you'll have a full-time... you look at the donations by government department to political candidates.
I do see
it's like 96, 97, 98%.
It's almost university levels.
Giving money to... No, it's worse. Yeah, it's like...
What I'm saying is there is a good reason why this argument was... There's a good political reason why this argument was advanced rather than the...
I think it was just a mistake that Elon made.
I think it was a mistake.
Because he thought that DOGE was a clever meme and that it was a great acronym and that he is a libertarian. He has he has a political naivete. He's early into politics, and so he's still captured by the libertarian idea and hasn't considered the questions. I wish he had sat down with Professor Deneen here to say, what is the telos? What is the end of government? Yeah. Because he's hyper-focused on the means of making it more efficient. But government does not operate like a car factory. Mm-hmm. Government operates on a different set of principles towards a different set of ends.
And if you still have all the regulations in place and you're just... it could actually... I
think there's...
And you had a little bit of an inside window,
there's something very fundamentally, basically... true about that. I think a lot of the frontline people at Doge sort of understood at different levels what they were doing, but the management of Doge was very libertarian and basically focused on, saving green pieces of paper, right? And there's a printer right next door that prints the green pieces of paper, but it was focused on saving green pieces of paper. There's an interesting historical, so Doge is now being pulled into OMB, and there's an interesting historical thing there, which is that OMB is actually descended from FDR, something FDR created called the Bureau of the Budget. And FDR's whole idea of the Bureau of the Budget was exactly the same as Elon's. He was going to stamp out waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government. But FDR had the great merit of never believing his own bullshit. And so this is the fundamental problem with Doge, is that when FDR established the Bureau of the Budget to root out waste, fraud, and abuse was anything that FDR didn't like. And he was very clear.
So wouldn't this strengthen Chris's point that the messaging of cutting waste, fraud, and abuse is the right message?
Well, the messaging,
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that we can be disingenuous.
And you cannot maintain the illusion in the same way that FDR could.
Yeah.
The FDR could maintain a sense of patriotic illusion in a way that is not possible for conservatives in 2025.
FDR could lie like a rug. Okay, Americans did not know that FDR used a wheelchair. That was how much of a total state this was. FDR could lie like a rug. We can't do that.
So why didn't he just say, I created this to purge and do whatever?
He didn't have to.
No purging.
He didn't have to,
Okay.
because the thing is, he was not obligated to work exclusively in terms of the truth, and we are. And that's, yes, we absolutely are, because when we lie even a little bit, it will be ripped apart. It will be absolutely.
Do you think FDI lied more than Trump? I mean, I think lying.
His lies were bigger. Trump exaggerates. FDR lied.
Lying. I don't
Your
think
boys will not be sent into any foreign wars.
It's not a good word to use in politics, because people get so wound up
I know
by their
FDR
own
is an American,
ideology. But I just don't know. I don't see that the situations are fundamental.
Trump is actually, if you get beyond the verbal, the verbal
Trump
stuff
is a very honest person.
Actually, Trump.
Well, I see
Trump
the
does
sense in
his
which you mean
actions
that.
are honest, even if the words that are over the action are not entirely tethered to.
I see exactly what you mean. He's an open book. He's not
Build the
FDR
wall,
was a
close down
profound-
the border, drain the swamp. All of his policy actions were boiled down into slogans. And unlike many other presidents, he's actually trying to deliver on them.
FDR
to me,
was a very closed book.
Yeah.
FDR is a mystery. To this day, I don't think we have a good understanding of FDR.
And the people in his administration. I mean,
Sure.
So look, OMB is a great case in point. And I think that the current leadership of OMB, and I'm going to go and talk to them later today, has a very clear-eyed understanding of what Doge should be. They know the history, they've read the books, and they have been, and I know this for a fact, and it's not, it's public, it's not any kind of private knowledge or indiscretion, but their team has spent the last 4 years contemplating what went wrong in the first administration and just gaming out relentlessly and systematically what they can do in the second administration. And they're just now getting staffed up and getting kind of the authorities working, the rescission packages written, and they are going through the budget to say, is this MAGA or is this not MAGA? And that's the filter by which they are going through the spreadsheets. And they have the Doge brains, the software kids. That to me, Doge, the predicate of Doge was two things. The two choke points or maximum points of leverage in government are personnel and payments. Get rid of the wrong people and cut off the flow of funds to the wrong organizations. And I think that is actually... And Elon deserves a lot of credit. That was from Elon. He just didn't see the other side of it. But I think that basic formula has enormous potential.
I think if we were to reconvene in 3 years and assess whether this was successful or not, it will depend on whether this entire enterprise is simply we're going to cut government, we're going to cut expenditures, we're going to be lean into the bone, or whether it's precisely this, whether you change the broadly speaking, the bureaucracy, the administrative state, you change it from what it has been to a much more Trump-ish bureaucracy and administration. If that is the aim, I actually think it has a high degree of potential for succeeding. Yeah. If it's the former, I think it's destined to fail.
Thank you for watching this clip of Project Cosmos. If you want to see the full video, the link is in the description below.